It's a hard sacrifice. Not having me a loving man. Society gave us no choice. Trying to silence my voice, putting me on the welfare. Hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about Miss Ruth. Still so excited. Her life as a pointer sister. Look, before we move forward, I want you to check this motherfucking blazer out. Ooh. Now, you know, when I had them boobs, I couldn't wear this blazer. But let me tell you what's significant about this blazer. My mother wore this blazer when she married my sister's father. I want to say that was like 1983, something like that. So that was years and years and years ago. But baby, this iPhone Pico, baby. The top now, because you know I got the titties done. But the bottom, my mother always had big hips, but she ain't never had no ass. You know I paid for this ass, so I can't get into the bottom yet. Okay? But when I tell you this mother hunchy head,
I know that my husband is with your daughter, I said. I'm about to call the police and have him arrested. So if you don't want your daughter involved, you need to go and get her now. It happened that my sister Anita was friendly with a couple of Oakland Vice cops. My next call was to them. I told them where Larry was holed up with Hazel and said that if they didn't get there first, I intended to blow his rotten head off. They beat it right over there. Larry was wanted on several outstanding warrants, and when the cops moved in, he tried to get away by jumping off the third-story balcony of an apartment building. I wish I'd been there to see him hit the ground, though it would have been a huge letdown to see him wind up with just 2 broken legs. The last time I laid eyes on him was in the big house when I brought the divorce papers for him to sign. "Damn your cold woman," he said so glumly as he signed them that I almost busted out laughing. Did he think I'd come to renew our vows? Oh, Larry may have been great on the dance floor, but I busted some fancy moves of my own dancing out of his life forever that day. There was a stereotype that every right-leaning politician held up as a prime example of what was wrong in the United States of America during the 70s. The stereotype was a staple of speeches given by future President Ronald Reagan, who was then governor of California. He called them welfare queens. Word. When I tell you it was a whole campaign against black women and black children, I'm speechless to think that ignorance was spewed. As a matter of fact, it almost equates Trump dumbass. But it was crazy to me to think that they could just outwardly say things like the problem is the black woman laying around having all these kids by these black daddies. I was black and a single mother of 2 children who accepted government assistance / food stamps, lived in subsidized low-cost housing, pawned her kids off on her parents whenever I wanted to party, and had multiple boyfriends and male suitors. I sure didn't feel like royalty. So you know my mom had me at 15. Okay, I guess my mother absorbed that same thinking that welfare is for the ignorant, poor women that don't want to do nothing but lay on their ass and have children. So my mother decided to do the opposite, and we struggled. No, I ain't gonna say struggle. Let me take it back. My mother has always had a federal government job, but we didn't have no extras whatsoever. Everything we had, she had to work for. My mother had a job, I told you, for as long as I could remember. God damn it, I didn't know the bitch. Maybe if she would have took some of them handouts, I would have known my mother more. I felt shameful because I had let my parents down by getting pregnant before I was married, because my marriage didn't work, because my alcohol, brandy and cognac, cigarette speed, and cocaine consumption were spiraling out of control. My life was going nowhere, and in the absence of any idea what to do about it, I was probably more of a welfare princess than queen, because with all the aforesaid problems, I managed to hold down a job. Illegal when you're collecting welfare, working as a key punch operator for Pacific Far East lines between Oakland and San Francisco, working out of a building at the tip of the Oakland Bay Bridge. It only paid about $400 a month, and it was the best I could do. Later on, the state found out about my little hustle and made me pay back every dime of unemployment. Yep. Do you know how many people I had on probation when I was a PO for Medicaid fraud, Medicare fraud, housing fraud? Or they be finding out. You hear me? And I'm sure it ain't nobody but a goddamn hater. You hater. You just mad at me because you pay full rent and then I don't. You won't do it. You better be legit. Because there's always a hater waiting around the corner to snitch on your ass. She get more help than I do. To supplement my meager income, I sold a little weed on the side. One of my regular customers was a construction worker named Carl Abram. We got more involved. It wasn't until later that I discovered Carl and my sister June had been going out. He claimed it was just a couple of dates, and I didn't bother to check with June. I had enough problems of my own without taking on somebody else's. June was pretty broken up about the situation, but that didn't keep me from eventually marrying Carl. Reflecting back on an interview where one of the Pointer sisters was like, well, what do you think? We see each other every day, talk on the phone every day. I mean, some sisters do that, okay? But I think it was June was like, I mean, we just work together. Yeah, but you share the same blood. But I don't know. It's strange. And with them seeing that interview, I can sort of see it happening. It's weird. But that Ninja Carl ain't right. How you know you messing with that girl's sister and you ain't even say nothing? And then, Miss Ruth, why you do that? That man had both y'all peanut butter. His chocolate been in both y'all peanut butter. My kids, Malik and Fawn, and I lived with my sister Anita and her daughter Jada in a 2-bedroom apartment in West Oakland before Carl and I got married. It was located about 10 minutes away from my parents' house. Anita was doing the single parent thing too. I told myself that we were in a kindred situation, helping each other, supporting each other. I was in denial that I wanted family near so I could do what I wanted. I felt justified in that Fawn and Malik were fed, bathed, and clothed by me. They had their basic needs covered, but what they needed the most, love and nurturing, they received from both sets of grandparents, not me. I often farmed out Malik to Larry's parents while Fawn usually went with mine. But I tell you about my mama, didn't know the big. The true hard truth is that at the time, I was most interested in getting high and hammered, having what I then considered fun. This meant sitting on a bar stool and drinking and snorting up a storm. I had no problem attracting members of the opposite sex. What man wouldn't want a woman who could party all night and drink 'em under the table? Another drunk man would, 'cause a sober man don't. But you going after the party men. You not going after the good, wholesome, button down and chinos man. You going after the what is that? We can't even say Air Force Ones. You got to say the Versace sneakers, man. The Balenciaga sneakers, man. That's what you chasing. Things weren't going a whole lot better for my sisters, Bonnie and June. Although they hadn't sunk quite as low as me, Bonnie in particular was driven, citing a desperate need to do something with her life. She was wild, fierce, and not to be denied. She hung out in Haight-Ashbury with the hippies, protested at Berkeley, wrote poetry with Angela Davis, and dated Huey Newton, co-founder of the Black Panthers. In 1969, Bonnie and June started singing together as the Pointers Apparel, shortly joined by Anita. They were so eager and willing to make a living singing, they hitchhiked from San Francisco to as far as New York for a paying gig. Often, they'd pretend to have a bad case of the crabs in case the men who picked them up had any funny ideas. Lacking inhibition, they were fierce, and sometimes they'd crash the stage of well-known veterans playing the Bay Area, including B.B. King and Herbie Hancock. They even tried folk songs with San Francisco-based singer Michael Takamatsu. There you go. I didn't know how to say his name when I read Anita's book, and I still don't know how to say it when I'm reading Ruth's book. And sang rhythm and blues in the clubs because that's pretty much all the house bands knew at the time. Bonnie tried topless dancing at a place called Girls Galore on Telegraph Avenue in Oakland, but quit after a week because the old geezers in that joint gave her the creeps. I can dig it. Get your grimy, sweaty, grubby, hairy hands off me, jive turkey. Anita was fired from her job with the law firm the day after Christmas for the crime of showing up a few minutes late, and she joined Bonnie and June as a member of the Northern California State Youth Choir. A few years before, the choir backed Edwin Hawkins on a Grammy-winning gospel record called Oh Happy Day, Oh Happy Day, Oh Happy Day, Oh Happy Day, when Jesus walked. That became an international hit, selling 7 million copies. At the time, Anita was dating a car salesman who must have been tops in his field because he convinced her, Bonnie, and June to up and move to Houston, where he said he had connections. Bullshit the baker. Because Miss Anita had said that the dude Gupta, they went all the way down there and the ninja ain't have a connection to Nathan. The launching pad turned out to be a joint called the Greek Cat Nightclub and Lounge, and when the girls arrived there direct from Oakland, the owner had never heard of them or their car salesman. But when they sang Aretha Franklin's Chain of Fools for him, the owner shrugged and said he already had a house band, but he'd make room for them on the bill. In Houston, they stayed with the sister of Anita's boyfriend. Child, now Miss Anita ain't say this. Miss Anita, you ain't tell us this. Okay, maybe you forgot. Maybe you didn't want to embarrass the womans. Or maybe I forgot. But Miss Ruth said that lady apartment had so many wretches, okay, that they couldn't take it no more. They spent the majority of their time there fighting the roaches. Miss Ruth had said that the sister had grabbed one of her wigs, shook it, and out popped all the wretches. Okay? She said they couldn't take it no more. So they left. And don't forget, this is the same sister, same roach-infested home sister that was like, don't be doing all that singer shit here. I wanted to be quiet here. Houston was a Texas-sized disaster, and my sisters were stranded and alone. Now, remember, Anita said that when they called home to the mother was like, okay, June, I'm gonna give you some money for June, okay? Because June, she shaky. She got special needs, meaning that she had bad nerves. The rest of y'all get home the best way you can. The way that Miss Ruth put it in her book was that the mother was like, okay, June's the baby, so I'm going to bring her home. I don't care what the rest of you ladies do. Y'all older. Bonnie then called all the friends and acquaintances she could think of for help getting herself and Anita home. But everybody had the shorts, and when songwriters Bruce Good and Jeff Cohen suggested she call David Rubinson, who was rock promoter Bill Graham's business partner at the Fillmore Corporation in San Francisco, even though she'd never met the man, she was desperate enough to give it a try. Mr. Rubinson, my name is Bonnie Pointer, and you may have never heard of me, but my sisters and I can sing. If you can get us out of Texas, I'll show you. David had gotten his start at Capitol Records in New York in the mid-60s and moved to San Francisco to get involved in the burgeoning music scene there. He had actually heard about my sister's talent, and he ended up paying for their passage back to the Bay Area, but then got the Pointer Sisters live gigs and studio work backing such Bay Area artists as Boz Scaggs, Grace Slick, Elvin Bishop, Dave Mason, Bobby Lamb, and funk artist Betty Davis, the second wife of jazz great Miles Davis. He's on the list too. It's just that I got to get in the mood to read a book that can long. As word got around about my sister's unique abilities, Billy Graham signed them to a management contract. The girls went out almost immediately on tour with Elvin Bishop, Dave Mason, and Esther Phillips. Okay, I don't recall Miss Anita talking about this. Esther Phillips, as much of a junkie as she was, she liked to appear on stage very glamorous. Okay, she got the fur, the boas, the diamonds, the pearls, the rings, the silk necklaces, and the wig. Okay, and when she saw the Pointer Sisters, she was like, look here, girls, you ain't up to par to be on a venue with me. Won't you spend some of that money on dressing yourselves up? How about you do that? Invest that money back into yourself. Like the rappers. My sisters put together simple red, white, and blue outfits, of which Esther disapproved because they weren't classy enough. She continually harped at the girls to invest in a better wardrobe, which was all but impossible since their salary for backing up Esther amounted to just $5 apiece per performance. Esther kept nagging them about it, and Bonnie finally told her, Miss Phillips, we got to eat with this money. We got to pay the rent. Miss Phillips, please don't try to tell us what to do with our money. The girls' wardrobe instantly ceased to be an issue because they instantly ceased to be on Esther's laughable payroll. What you so mad at the Esther for? Y'all know damn well she can't pay y'all but $5 because she got to spend all her monies on the junk. Didn't Betty LaVette tell y'all one time she was out at the cocktail bar and Miss Esther nodded out? Okay. All right, she don't have time to be paying you damn Pointer Sisters no daggone real money. She got to get high. In 1971, Atlantic Records Vice President Jerry Wexler, a legendary figure in the music industry, heard the girls sing backup for Elvin Bishop at the Whiskey in Los Angeles and offered them a record deal. You say that you love